Welcome to the Messy Medium podcast. I'm your host, the Messy Medium herself, Tara Cecilia. I'm a tea connoisseur, intuitive psychic medium, and a lifestyle and business coach for individuals looking to create their most luxe legacies. I'm here to spill the tea on life, death, legacy, and everything in between. In this podcast, we're not afraid to get a little messy. What's up? Hey, how is everyone doing? What's up? What's going on? I don't have a very long note list here for this topic. I'm just riffing it, I believe they say. But before we get into the topic today, because it's pretty it's intense, it's kind of a reality check. But before we get into that, I want to start with the question of the week, which is, how can I be nicer to myself? Yeah, how can you be nicer to yourself? Because I know from experience that is not an easy thing to do. I can be pretty rough on myself, and I can see my friends and family being very rough on themselves, or taking out the internal judgment that goes on within themselves on other people and being very judgmental to other people. And I think some people are just naturally more judgmental, more critical. I think that, probably true for specific sign. But I really want to dive in to today's topic. And this is intense. This is a call out. I'm calling out my biggest hater. I know. So this person has been very rude to me for years and has made me question my ability to succeed. They have, had a lot of time and taken up a lot of my time and energy and mental capacity, and I think it's really important that I call them out and that you hear this. And that person's name is Tara Cecilia. Yep, it's me. I'm the bad guy. Yeah, I could be nicer to myself a lot. It's not as bad as it used to be, like I said, but I undoubtedly, there's no competition. I am my own inner saboteur. I love RuPaul and the inner saboteur dialogue. You gotta stop letting the inner saboteur leading you to lose and question yourself and question your abilities. In RuPaul's world, the biggest villain is within yourself. It's your inner voice that is negative and strokes your fears, and it tells you what not to do, and it gets in your head and it gets in your way, and we cannot let our inner saboteurs win. And that dialogue on RuPaul's Drag Race, and it was eye-opening to me, and I was like, wow, I am my own worst enemy. I've been my own worst enemy for so long. Literally, even the fact that I just started this podcast, that I waited for years to start this podcast. It was suggested to me that I would be a great podcaster. I was still living in my grandmother's basement, and I had a coach, a business coach, be like, no, you would be great on podcasts. You need to use these skills. You need to utilize, you have the talent, etc. And I was like, nah, no, I'm not. I can't do that. And then it was excuse after excuse. And now I'm doing it, and I've never felt more alive. I've never felt more myself. I've never felt more power and control and just confident than I do doing this and creating this content. But my inner saboteur had me believing that I was not capable, had me not believing that no one would listen, and had me believing that it wasn't worth my time, had me believing so many things that were not true at all. False lies, stroking of my fears. It's mind-blowing. And working in like, especially in plus size fashion, there's already enough negativity and mean people. Just being a plus size person, I mean, being a person in general, people are mean, but you start to expose yourself, the things people say, oh my gosh, why would you say that to another human being? But subconsciously, I read these things, I'm like, oh, this is when I was younger. Now I don't care. Delete, bye. But I would read things when I was younger, and I was like, yep, this is just another reason why, like, subconsciously I was like, yeah, this is another reason why I can't do it. And why I shouldn't do it. It's just adding to the dialogue of the inner saboteur, the inner hater. And to a point, I'm like, oh, does the mind do that because it's trying to protect itself? Why do we do that? Why is our natural, for so many people, obviously not everybody, but for so many people, why is the natural, like, first instinct to be like, nope, can't do that? Why is the first instinct to doubt ourselves? I'll say, obviously, I come from a divorced parents, so growing up was not perfect at all, by any means, even when they were together, but I will say that, like, my parents never really gave me a reason to not think I couldn't do something. Like, if I wanted to do something, I was allowed to do it, in terms of, like, school and academics and after school activities, etc., and, like, in those terms of confidence building and stuff. But for some reason, the opinions of others mattered, and all those negative voices, or even if it wasn't directed towards me, just like, you see things, or you see how other people are treated, and you, like, internalize it, and those negative voices and experiences all kind of accumulate and come together, and they start to form the inner voice, like the inner saboteur's voice. Because, like, you have your inner voice, like, in terms of your intuition, that's, like, your guide, like, but eventually, like, for me, the negative voice got so loud that it kind of overpowered the true nature, my true nature, and I let it control me, and I let it lead me into some really bad situations. Especially, I'm glad that it kind of got pivoted away, and things never ended up worse than they could have, because when I met my now husband, mind you, we've been together since I was 15. This is like, we're going back. But when I met him, the inner saboteur's voice was loud, very loud. I mean, you're a teenager, it's the volume on that is turned up. And I met him when I was in a really bad relationship at that time. But I thought that's what I deserved. I thought that I didn't deserve to look for anyone better. I should be happy with what I have, that was, good enough. Like, that was good enough. Like, it's what I was gonna get. Like, that's what my inner saboteur told me. And I'm glad that for a moment, like, the truth, my true voice, my guide, all that could, like, come through and be like, no, this is not it. This is not it. And I'm glad that I made the decisions that I did, that led me out of that relationship, and that led me to my husband. which also, like, the relationship was just a symptom of, like, obviously the bigger cause, which is the inner saboteur and the negative self-talk. And that at the time social media was MySpace, and just like kind of thinking what I thought, and like I wasn't bad looking, but I was plus size, I was tall, and like, you know, I was so awkward. People probably are like, no, you weren't awkward. I was awkward. I was undiagnosed neurodivergence, and I was coming out of a terrible familiar family situation, and the inner saboteur just had such an opportunity there to take over, and it did. And while I've battled with it for years, I've still sabotaged myself in so many ways. And then part of me is like, well, was it actually sabotage, or were these just all lessons? And I think they could be both. I think I have sabotaged myself a lot, and I think I've learned a lot from those different situations. And I also think that these opportunities never came to fruition and to be what they could have been, because they weren't actually meant for me. Also, like, that conversation exists within this all too. And this isn't like a what if conversation. Like, that's not the point of it. It's a conversation that we all go through it. People are always like, you're so confident, you're this, that, the other thing, you're doing this. I'm just trying to make it like everybody else. Like, I am just trying to survive like everybody else. I am like quickly recording this podcast. You know, I like have so much going on, and I was like panicking, and like the inner saboteur was like stepping in, like, look, can't stay committed to something. Look, here we go, failing again. The content's not, you're not doing the things the way you want. Blah, blah, blah. The voice starts to run her mouth internally, and I gotta be like, girl, you need to shut the fuck up. I tell myself, that part of myself, to like, shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. I don't need to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And here I am. I'm recording. This is the second podcast of the day. I'm recording. But back in the day, that voice, she would start running her mouth, chitting and chatting at me internally. You know, you're like, you know, oh, well, yeah, that's what you should deserve, blah, blah, blah. And you see, like, I don't think that's true. Like, so quietly. So the negative voice was still louder than my voice. Like, I don't think that's true. And it took me a lot of time to build up my voice, be like, no, that's not true. And like redirect my thoughts. And I would start to think something negative and be like, no, actually, no. And now I'm like, nah, bitch, be quiet. That is not true. You need to shut your mouth. But it took me a long time. They'd be like, no, actually, I think that. But getting to this point and having, I guess, trained myself and redirected my thoughts, this has taken years. I'm 29. I began the process of it in my early 20s, but like, still, to your early 20s, you're fucking up everywhere. You know, it's a blur. I don't remember. I don't know. But I know I was consciously like redirecting my thoughts and like, no, I knew more that I wanted a certain direction, a way of life. I didn't know the specifics of those things. But I knew that it wasn't how things were. Which, very interesting, not knowing the specifics of things. This is not a tangent, but maybe it's going to become a tangent. I barely know anything about like human design. I'm actually very interested in human design and learning more about it, but I do know that I am a manifest generator, which I barely know what that means. But I did read, so I'm like I have so many interests, and so it's like I try to figure out, do I want to know a lot about a couple things, or do I want to know a little bit about everything? So with being a manifest generator, like I started to follow some like Instagram pages and stuff, and it said that they actually when they're like manifesting and like like creating a vision or whatever, they don't, some like people like really hone in on the specifics. They like specifically know this is how I want things to like unfold. Like that's how they could like, create vision boards. That's how they create plans, etc. And that manifest generators actually aren't specific. They kind of just broadly know that like this is like how I kind of would like things to be. And I think that is very interesting because that's how when I have like manifest and align myself with like how I want things to be for myself, it's always been in like a broad stroke or a broad idea. And it's very like there's no coincidences. Like everything is, you're meant to see things when you see them, and you're meant to learn things when you learn them, and etc. See, I told you this was going to be a tangent. As I saw that posted on someone's Instagram who specializes in human design, like that's so interesting because I was just thinking how I need to sit down and like be more specific about my goals and my like dreams, and like I'm specific in like, oh, I want this, and this. Like I know I want these types of things, these kind of things to happen, but I need to really get in there. I really need to get in there and do the work, like do the detail work there. And to be totally honest, I think I actually had this conversation a little while ago in therapy. I told my therapist, for the first time in a long time, I can go to sleep, because I used to like go to sleep and like kind of manifest and think about like what would my perfect day be, except or something like that before I was going to sleep, because I'm just trying to bring that energy in, and I couldn't do that for a long time. And very recently I started, when I'm going to sleep, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could like think about something I want to happen and like start to like work on that and manifest that dream. And I could do it for the first time in a long time, because my inner saboteur voice and just like trauma and everything, I was very much, I just want to shut down when I went to sleep. So being able to do this again is like it's a big deal for me. So now I'm like, oh, I need to get into the specifics when I'm doing that. So now I've kind of like specifically started to manifest and, pull in the vision of me at a book signing, like my book. I'm at a book signing or like a book reading / signing, like meet and greet type of situation. And I can see my outfit, which is like cool denim, like high-waisted white. It's like has like puffy sleeves, and it's like cool. It's very cool. And like I know the designer of the shirt, of the top, of the blouse. Like the jewelry is like my jewelry and like my grandmother's jewelry, because I intend to wear that one day when I do this. I can see them in my heels, and like I know my support system is like off the stage when they're like watching, and like I got like someone getting content for me, and like I know the glam is there, and I know I'm talking about my book, and I know I take pictures of people and I sign books, and like I like can feel myself. I'm trying to like feel myself writing like a note in a book to somebody. I know this book is important, I know this is like stop 15 on my like book tour. Like I'm trying to get specific like that in my manifestations. It's in Barnes and Noble. It's at this bookstore, and it's here, and now I have to go on like Good Morning America, like that type of stuff. Trying to like get specific in my manifestations, and then of course alignments, so that those types of things can happen. Well, the first thing that needs to happen, I need to finish the book I've been writing for like 3 years. I need to just finish it. But yeah, I've only ever really broadly manifest and broadly daydreamed and vision boarded, etc. So now I'm like, all right, we're trying to get into those details. And, for a long time, inner saboteur, that my inner hater blocked me from those things. And I'm sure you can think of different moments and opportunities your own inner saboteur has blocked you from and prevented you from accomplishing. And it doesn't have to be that way. And we always do our Wednesday resets on my Instagram. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. You've got this. We've got this. At any point, you can change the way your weekday, year, month is going. At any time, you can tell your inner saboteur to shut the up. And it's probably going to start, can you be quiet, please? I really would like it if you kept your voice down. I don't think you need to be speaking that loud. Why don't you be quiet? Bitch, shut up. It's going to be hard. And you're going to catch yourself and be like, ooh, when you have your negative thoughts, and you're going to be like, Might take you a little longer to catch yourself at first. You might get a couple words in. Nope. Eventually, before your inner saboteur even opens its mouth, you're going to be like, shut down. The call cannot be placed eventually. But it's hard. And it takes a little while to get there. But I believe in you, and I know you can do it. I told you I was just riffing today. We're just chatting here. Just chatting. But I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I think I've thought my thoughts on this topic for now. But I'd be interested to hear your responses to the question, how can you be nicer to yourself? And I can't wait to hear what you guys thought about this topic. Until next time, stay blessed, babes. Thanks for tuning into the Messy Medium podcast. If you liked today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow wherever you're listening from. You can find me, the Messy Medium, on all social media platforms under the handle Tara Cecilia. If you'd like to book an intuitive reading, consult session, or explore my coaching containers, please find the direct link to those services and more in the show notes. Until next time, stay blessed, babes.